With us now is Andrew Cotto. Welcome to the show, Andrew. How are you?
I'm well. Good to see you, Donna.
So where are you calling in from today?
The bunker of our home in Brooklyn. This
Okay, in
is my
Brooklyn.
little man space down here in the basement where I set up shop. Where I have my office here and some exercise stuff, but it feels like very much like a bunker.
When you're in Brooklyn, they always say that the pizza and everything's so wonderful there. Do you have a couple of favorite hot spots that are still open even though we're in this challenging time?
Yeah, I mean, pizza's been one of the staples well, they're always a staple in people's lives, and it's probably the most universally adored food. But especially during things like this, crisis times, people are going more towards their comforts, and I'm certainly no exception. My favorite pizza place in Brooklyn, there's two. Actually, they're owned by two brothers. One's called
Okay.
Giuseppe's, which is right near where I live in Greenwood Heights on 6th Avenue, and the other is Lucali over in Carroll Gardens,
Ah,
where I'm actually going tonight because my friend has a pop-up there. My friend Nicole Russell from Last Dragon Pizza, she's in Rockaway, so that's
oh,
technically Queens, right? Has a
yeah.
a pop-up there tonight, so I'll be there as one of the guests on her opening night.
You were telling me about her and all the
Yeah,
interesting
she's
toppings
amazing.
that she has. Yeah, that sounds
Yeah,
wonderful.
she's
I
great.
don't know, maybe
Yeah,
you'll see me scooting over there myself tonight.
it's a tough table to get, Donna, but if you show up, I'll give you half my seat.
Okay,
We'll
or maybe
share.
just a tiny bite of your pizza.
Okay,
So
I'll do it.
what's your favorite topping? What kind of toppings do you usually go for?
That's a good question. I'm an everything pizza guy. I know there's purists who like margaritas, and I like margaritas too, right? Just this simple cheese sauce and basil. But I'm kind of a more is more guy when it comes to pizza.
Okay,
So I like an everything pizza. I particularly like, and this place Giuseppe's on my corner I was just mentioning has an everything pizza that's crazy. It's got like jalapenos and, of course, tons of meat. I'm a meat veggie guy. I like, you know what a roni cup is? A pepperoni cup? They're
ah,
little pepperonis. They're pepperoni, like this big, like dime size, I
right.
guess. But they don't have any casing on them, so they curl up into a cup. And
Oh,
then the
okay,
roni
yeah, I've
cups.
seen those. Ooh,
Yeah, like Prince Street Pizza down in Olita is famous for them. And so I love me a nice pepperoni with the Roni cup if I had to have one topping.
now as an author of award-winning books,
Hmm.
the reason that we're talking about food is that you're a bit of a foodie. So you're an author and a foodie combined. Is there a word for
Yeah,
that?
there's
Like
not yet, but I
author
think
Udi? I don't know. We
well,
need to
food
we need to
a
make something
foother,
for you. There you
a
go.
author. Sounds like fool. That'd be me too. Yeah, I really write a lot about food, and I also, and of course there's lots of food writers out there, people who make a living just writing about food for magazines and newspapers, etc. And I do lots of food writing, for La Cucina Italiana, Rachel Ray and Season, the New York Times, the edible publications I write for. So I do tons of food journalism, I guess, but I also use food in my fiction. I mean, I'm a novelist, first and foremost, and food's a huge part of my narratives. And I didn't do that necessarily by design. It just sort of happened. I like to feed people, so I like to feed my characters. And then I found out that, the choices they make with food and using food as a sort of a device was really sort of unique, and true to who these characters are that I'm putting on the page. So I'm creating these people, and I happen to make them all be really into food. And it's sort of reached an absurd level. In my last novel, Cucina Tipica, Italian Adventure, there's like 25 food scenes in it, and food is sort of what drives the character. Like he goes to Italy on holiday, and decides he's never going to leave. And the reason he's never going to leave is because he likes the lifestyle so much. And the thing about the lifestyle he likes so much is that really, really good, healthy, affordable food is accessible to everybody. And he's like, I
Yes.
can't go back, and I have to have this. And it's like it's there. Eating well is a right, not a privilege, and he just won't give that up.
Did you not recently have something glorious happen? Didn't somebody take one of your recipes from your book or a story from your book and then create a video about it?
Yeah, yeah. Cara DeFalco, who's a YouTube Emmy-nominated food personality, has a cooking show on YouTube, which is really wonderful. I actually knew her before. I was on her program last winter. We filmed an episode where I made my grandmother's veal spadini with her,
Ah,
and that was predicated by her reading the book. And then because she knew obviously that I was into food, but then she was just rereading it and came across this scene where the main character sort of stumbles upon a bakery that's making fresh chickpeas, ceci, they call them in Italian. And it's a beautiful vegan dish. It's just chickpeas braised in olive oil with garlic and red peppers, and they're just they're savory, they're delicious, and they work. They're fulsome. They work as a main course. And she was so inspired by that she created the recipe. And then she filmed making that recipe and dedicated it to me. And then last week we did an episode on Instagram Live together where she made the dish for her audience. Then I read the scene that inspired her recipe.
I love this collaboration. I love how things are happening now. Due to technology, due to this challenging time in our life, we're connecting in other ways. And what better way to connect than food? And maybe music. I don't know. Do you play a little guitar too, or a little violin? Or
anything? Do actually. My instrument's over here. My guitar's over here. But I try to keep. Yeah, I try to keep my playing private. I'm addled somewhat. So, I know what I'm good at, and I can do publicly. I know what I keep to myself. My music is definitely one of those things. So I'm working on it, Donna. If I could have been a rock star instead of a writer, I would have done so in a second. Really?
Well, maybe there's going to be another career for you coming soon. Or at least you can play the dinner bell, Andrew. Ding-a-ling-a-ling-ling, dinner time.
That's right. It's my favorite song.
There you go. You're also doing your own YouTube channel where you've been cooking with people.
Yeah, on my channel, what I started doing, this was inspired by musicians. Like right when the lockdown was implemented, my cousin, who is a musician, that's why I know that I'm not a musician, because he's incredibly talented, and his girlfriend, who's also a very talented musician, started doing house concerts from their apartment in Boston. Her name is Amy Fairchild, and they have a show tomorrow night. They do every other Wednesday on Instagram and Facebook Live. And I was so inspired the first night they did it. It was March, things were bleak. We were just getting used to this shutdown, and I was just starting to feel pretty lonely. And when they did this performance, I was so inspired. People were writing in and saying how happy it made them feel, and I really felt the community of it and realized that you can do these things, at home, and it's not the same as being there in person, but it's good enough. It's close enough for rock and roll, and certainly for me. So I thought I'm going to do this too. So I started reading food passages from my novels. I called the Aperitivo Hour. I do one every Saturday night at 6 o'clock. I'd make a spritz or a Negroni or something, and read passages from my novels that involved food, and then I would make a dish that was referenced in the reading, right? So if I was reading about chickpeas, right, I'd make that dish, and I made pasta carbonara one night. I made lamb chops scotadita. It was really, really fun. I made the cecchi dish one night too, and it was just really fun. I went through all 3 of the existing published novels, and then read a preview of one that's forthcoming. So
how exciting is that? And when is that one going to be in my hot hands? When am I going to actually get to turn the pages? When? Soon?
I actually just got a note from the publisher about copies being available. For the early review copies are available, so I will send you one of those just to have in your hands. Then I'll get you a finished copy, because the advanced ones have not been formally edited yet. So there's but we've got to get those out to review. But I'll get you one of it's called Black Irish Blues. It's a sequel to my second novel, which is called Borough Blues. This is a noir series, right? I hop around genre-wise. I can't stick to one genre, but one of the ones I write in is noir. And Borough Blues took place in Brooklyn in what they call the dawn of gentrification, so an early 90s set, Brooklyn, gritty, mystery. But the protagonist is a cook, right? And he uses food as a means of communicating with people. He's fairly reticent soul, a drifter, and he cooks wherever he goes around America, and he ends up in Brooklyn. In the sequel, he ends up going back to his hometown. It's one of those return to origin stories, and he goes to his hometown in northern New Jersey, just over the George Washington Bridge, buys the town's only tavern, the only inn, and refurbishes it and changes the whole menu and sort of reconnects with his town through his cooking and and the spirits and what he serves at the place, but also a mystery. Obviously, it has to be a mystery in a noir. So there's a missing person in this that he has to find.
Aha!
And I love it. I'm so excited. I like this character a lot. He sort of allows me to be sort of gritty but poetic, and it allows a really distinct voice that I love to write in. So I hope to continue this series after this one comes out, if it does well enough.
Well, no, when it does well, because it's going to do well.
Yes.
Because everything, whether it's your recipes, whether it's your articles that you're writing, you're just really talented. So it's always going to work out. Every recipe. I will admit to this though before we wrap up. So for the very first time, I tried to make something, and usually I'm great at making what I call something out of nothing. You need something soon. You're looking in your cabinet. You're trying to put a few things together. What I made
Do
was
it often?
horrid. It was the very
What was
first
it?
time that I'd ever tried something that was just like epic
What was
fail. And I had to make reservations instead of what I made. I had like some ground meat, high quality, right? And then I had a green pepper, but not enough green peppers to make stuffed peppers, right? So I kind of
Right.
combined things, but I put a little too much tomato soup in the mixture. And when I
Yeah.
flattened it all out and I put it in a baking pan, no,
It
it was
just
it was the worst
spilled.
thing I've ever made. So, it was a great time to
happens.
go out. So happiness
Absolutely.
to you. I can't wait to see
Thank you.
you in the three-dimensional world.
I
And
look forward to
I
that as well.
appreciate you being a guest here. So happy
Oh,
journeys
thanks
to you,
for
Andrew.
thank you for
Okay.
having me.
Okay. Be well.
Bye.
Bye-bye.